There is a battle happening right now. You will not see it on a screen. You will not hear about it from others. It is not trending. It is not popular, but it is the most important fight of your life. It is the fight between comfort and greatness, between who you are and who you are meant to be. And most people will never fight it, because most people never feel it. They are too busy seeking attention, too busy announcing plans, too busy explaining why they have not started. You are different. You are not here for likes. You are not here for applause. You are not here to be seen. You are here to be great. And greatness does not start with noise. It starts in silence. The kind of silence where no one is watching. The kind of silence where no one cares. That is where the strongest people are built. Not under lights. Not in front of crowds. But in the shadows. Early mornings, quiet nights. Long days where nothing seems to be changing. But it is slowly, quietly, deeply. The world wants results now. It wants shortcuts. It wants recognition before the work is done. But the few who truly rise ignore the world. They ignore the doubt. They ignore the noise. And they focus only on the next step, the next workout, the next disciplined decision. And while others talk, they build. While others post, they work. While others dream, they act. That is the difference. That is what separates the common from the unstoppable. You do not need permission. You do not need motivation. You need discipline, the kind that shows up when no one is watching, the kind that pushes through when no one is clapping, the kind that grows stronger when things get harder. And that discipline is not born in comfort. It is born in pain, in fatigue, in repetition. Most people will avoid this. They will run from it. They will choose easy. But you will not, because something inside you knows. This is the way, the quiet way, the lonely way, the real way. You do not need to say anything. You do not need to prove anything. Your results will do that for you. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them wonder where you went. While they search for you in the crowd, you will be in the shadows, building, forging, becoming, and one day, when the time is right, you will emerge, and they will not understand how you did it. But you will know, it was never about being seen. It was always about becoming undeniable. You will never feel like it. That is the truth. No one tells you. You will wake up tired. You will face days where your mind is filled with doubt. Your body will ache. Your thoughts will pull you toward rest, toward escape, toward the comfort that has trapped so many before you. But in that exact moment, you are standing at the door of power, and most will walk away. Most will wait for a better mood. Most will tell themselves they will try again tomorrow. But tomorrow does not exist. Not for the disciplined, not for the few who understand that consistency is the only key. You do not wait. You act. You act when it is easy. You act when it is hard. You act when you are tired. You act when no one is watching. Because discipline does not ask how you feel. It only asks if you will show up. The world is full of people who start and never finish. Not because they lack talent, but because they wait to be in the right mindset. They wait for the spark, the inspiration, the perfect environment, but nothing is ever perfect. And those who move forward are the ones who have stopped waiting. They move without permission. They move without the mood. They move because it is what they said they would do. And in a world that breaks promises to itself every day, this is rare. This is strength. This is what separates the disciplined from the distracted. The Stoics did not care about motivation. They spoke of duty. They spoke of controlling the mind, of doing what must be done. Even when it hurts, even when it is boring, even when the crowd has stopped cheering. Marcus Aurelius wrote about rising in the morning to meet your responsibilities. Not because you want to, but because it is what life demands of you. This is what it means to be grounded in purpose, to choose action over feeling, to choose strength over mood. That is how warriors are made. Not in battle, but in repetition. Each day you avoid the easy path, you win. Each time you ignore the voice that says, take a break, you sharpen your mind. Each moment you push through, without reward, you train yourself to become untouchable. You are not building habits. You are building identity. The person who shows up regardless. The person who cannot be shaken. The person who does not fold in discomfort. You become this by choice. Not once, but every single day. There is no secret. There is no hack. There is only this. Wake up. Do the work. No excuses. No drama. Just effort. Stacked brick by brick, until it builds something so strong that nothing can tear it down. You will not see progress every day. Some days will feel pointless. Some days will feel empty. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days when you build something others cannot see. Those are the days that test what you are really made of. Anyone can work when it feels good. Anyone can train when they are excited. But those moments are rare, and they do not last. What lasts is the structure built from discipline. What lasts is the self built from sacrifice. This is the reason most people never reach their potential, because they quit when it gets hard. They slow down when it gets uncomfortable. They believe the voice in their head that says stop. But that voice is not real. It is fear. It is a weakness, and it must be defeated. You defeat it by showing up, again and again, until showing up is no longer a question. It is who you are. It is what you do. It is the standard you set that no one else needs to understand. This is not about showing off. It is not about telling the world what you are building. It is about proving to yourself that you are capable of following through without reward, without applause, without permission. You do not need to be the best. You just need to be the one who does not stop. Because the world will always give up first. The world will always get tired. The world will always look for something easier, but not you. You chose the harder path. You chose the path of the disciplined, the path of those who put in the reps when it is dark, when it is quiet, when no one cares, and when the results finally come. When people start asking how you changed, how you stayed consistent, how you became unstoppable, you will not have to say a word, because your actions will already be louder than anything you could say. The disciplined never need to speak. They just keep moving. And that movement becomes their power. That silence becomes their shield. You are not here to feel ready. You are here to act. You are not here to wait for the mood to change. You are here to change it through movement, through decision, through deliberate forward action. You are not here to chase a spark. You are here to carry fire, and that fire is discipline. Built through countless invisible moments, built through repetition without reward, built through a decision made over and over again. This is what most people will never do. They will try once, then stop. They will start strong, then fade. But you will not, because you know the truth. You do not need to feel like it. You do not need to want it. You just need to take the next step. And then the next, and then the next, until momentum is on your side. until your body moves before your mind can argue, until you have trained yourself to lead your life by decision instead of emotion. You are not driven by what you feel. You are driven by who you are becoming. And that is how discipline wins, quietly, daily, without fail, without fanfare. It wins because it never stops. The world does not reward noise. It rewards results. And results are not born from speaking. They are born from doing. But most people never understand this. They talk about their goals, they share their plans, they announce their intentions, but they never execute. They spend their energy explaining, seeking applause, asking for feedback before they have built anything real. They want to be seen before they have become. They want recognition before results. And that is why they fail, because the more you speak about it, the less you do. The more you share, the more pressure you invite. The more you chase approval, the further you drift from purpose. There is a reason the greatest warriors in history did not talk. They moved in silence. They trained in private. They endured without needing anyone to notice, because they knew the truth. The more you focus on how things look, the less you focus on how things work. And this is what separates the masters from the mediocre. The masters know that invisible work creates visible power. They understand that silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is strategy. Silence is discipline. Every time you work without telling anyone, you grow stronger. Every time you train without sharing it, you sharpen your edge. Every time you struggle in private, you earn results that no one can take from you. The world is addicted to being seen, but being seen too early is a trap. It invites judgment. It invites comparison. It distracts you from work. It shifts your focus from action to image. And once that shift happens, the game is lost. Because now you are not building for yourself. You are building for approval. You are building for validation. You are chasing applause instead of growth. And that is a fragile place to build from, because the applause will stop, the likes will fade, the attention will move, and when it does, your motivation will go with it. Unless you have built something deeper, something unshakable, something real, silence keeps you grounded. It protects your energy. It protects your focus. It allows you to fail without embarrassment. It allows you to restart without explanation. It allows you to build without noise. And that kind of building is rare, but it is powerful. The blacksmith does not talk while he works. He strikes again and again, in silence, without announcement, until one day the weapon is finished, and it speaks for itself. That is what your life must become. Quiet action, quiet struggle, quiet discipline, until one day your results make noise for you. The moment you stop explaining is the moment you gain power, because now you are no longer giving your energy away. You are no longer feeding doubt. You are no longer seeking approval from people who do not understand your mission. Most people will not understand. Most people are not supposed to. They live in a world of quick rewards, easy praise, shallow wins. But you are not here for any of that. You are here to build something deeper, something lasting, something real. Every time you resist the urge to speak about it, you sharpen your focus. Every time you stay quiet and work, you build momentum. Every time you succeed in private, you grow stronger in ways no one can measure. That is why silence is not just a strategy. It is a way of life, a way of thinking, a way of becoming. It means you do not need to be seen. You do not need to be clapped for. You do not need to be understood. You only need to keep going. Keep building. Keep showing up. Most people spend their lives explaining, justifying, announcing, but none of that is required. What is required is consistency. What is required is action. What is required is the discipline to work when it is hard, to keep moving when no one cares, to keep rising when no one believes. That is what wins in the end. No noise, not talk, but a quiet, relentless effort. You have a choice. You can be loud early and quiet later, or you can be quiet early and loud forever. Loud with results, loud with presence, loud with mastery. And that kind of volume cannot be faked. It cannot be forced. It must be earned, earned in the dark, earned in silence, earned in the moments when it would be easier to quit. But you keep going anyway. That is why the few become legends, not because they shouted, but because they built, because they stayed focused when the world was distracted, because they chose work over talk, because they understood the power of silence. This is what your journey must become: a private mission, a sacred path, a quiet transformation that no one will see until it is complete. Let others speak. Let them announce. Let them chase attention. You are chasing something else, something higher. You are chasing strength. You are chasing mastery. You are chasing the quiet kind of greatness that does not need validation to grow. You are becoming someone who does not seek the light, because you have become the light. You do not follow energy, you create it. You do not wait for recognition. You let the results speak in a language louder than words. When you choose silence, you take control. When you stop explaining, you stop giving power to people who never earned the right to influence your direction. When you remove the need to be understood, you unlock a level of freedom most people will never taste. This is the path of the few, the focus, the disciplined. And if you stay on it long enough, if you keep showing up, if you keep building, one day everything will make sense. Not because you told them, but because they saw what you became. You cannot become elite without embracing what most people avoid: the early mornings, the heavy reps, the long hours, the endless repetitions that no one sees. That is where the gap is built. That is where you separate yourself. That is where you go from average to excellent. The grind does not break you. The grind reveals you. It shows you how far you are willing to go, how deep you are willing to dig, how hard you are willing to fight. And once you know that there is no fear left, because you know you can survive anything, most people never reach this point. They quit too soon. They give up when it gets hard. They tell themselves it is not worth it. But you will not do that. You are different. You understand that the pain is part of the process. You understand that the work is what makes the reward real. You understand that what you suffer through today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. This is not about pushing for a few days. This is about pushing forever, building forever, growing forever. And that means choosing hard things on purpose. Every single day, wake up earlier than you want to. Train harder than you feel like. Stay focused longer than your mind tells you to. And do it without needing anyone to clap for you. That is what separates you. That is what builds you. That is what takes you from where you are to where you must go. The world is not kind to the weak. It does not slow down for the tired. It does not wait for the unprepared. You must be ready. You must be sharp. You must be relentless. And the only way to become that is through hard work. You do not need to enjoy the grind. You need to respect it. Because it is the grind that turns effort into results. It is the grind that turns repetition into skill. It is the grind that turns resistance into resilience. every drop of sweat, every missed rep, every failed attempt, every long session when it felt like nothing was working. It all counts. It is all stacking. It is all shaping you, even when you cannot see it. Especially when you cannot see it. That is why you cannot stop. That is why you cannot slow down. That is why you cannot settle. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is a step away from the person you used to be, and a step closer to the person you are meant to become. Do not fear the struggle. Do not resist the hard road. Embrace it. Own it. Let it shape you. Let it define you. Let it become your advantage. Because once you have suffered and survived the grind, there is nothing the world can throw at you that you cannot handle. You are forged by the fire, and the fire only makes you stronger. Failure is not the end. It is not a sign that you are weak. It is not proof that you should stop. Failure is the beginning. It is the entrance to growth. It is the first step toward mastery. But most people fear it. They see failure as rejection, as a shame, as a defeat. So they avoid it. They play small. They never risk it. And because they never fail, they never grow. You must see it differently. You must see failure as the training ground, as the arena, as the teacher that sharpens you in ways success never will. Because success does not teach. Success rewards, but failure refines. The Stoics knew this. They did not panic when things went wrong. They did not fall apart when plans crumbled. They welcomed difficulty. They welcomed defeat, because they knew that suffering was the fire that forged wisdom. Seneca said difficulties strengthen the mind. He did not say avoid them. He did not say run from them. He said embrace them. That is your call too. To use every loss as a lesson. To use every fall as a chance to stand stronger. To use every rejection as fuel to get better. When you fail, it is not personal. It is not a verdict. It is information. It is showing you what needs to improve. It is revealing the cracks, the gaps, the weaknesses. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to be grateful for. Because now you can work. Now you can focus. Now you can evolve. But only if you do not run. Only if you do not quit. Only if you understand that failure is feedback. And feedback is priceless. Most people stop at failure. But the ones who win are the ones who keep going. They fall. They get up. They fall again. They get up. Again, they do not lose faith. They do not lose focus. Because their goal is bigger than the setback. Their vision is stronger than their pain. And their will is deeper than their fear. They are not afraid of looking foolish. They are not afraid of being misunderstood. They are not afraid of losing. Because they know they are not here to look good. They are here to get better. Think of the athlete who misses the shot. They do not walk away. They take the next shot. Then another, until they find the rhythm, until they get it right. That is how progress works. It is not clean. It is not pretty. It is not always rewarding at the moment. But it is necessary. It is powerful. It is real. And it builds something inside you that perfection never could. It builds grit. It builds hunger. It builds the kind of strength that comes from experience, not theory. You cannot fake experience. You cannot read your way around failure. You must go through it. You must feel the sting. You must face the weight. And then you must keep going. That is how character is built. Not from comfort, but from chaos. From the days that break you. From the plans that collapse. From the moments that almost make you stop. But you do not stop. You breathe. You rise. You continue. And in that choice, you gain power. Real power. The kind that cannot be taken away. Some of your greatest growth will come from your worst moments. The times you feel lost, the days you feel like nothing is working, the nights you feel alone. If you can keep moving during those times, there is nothing that can stop you, because you are not just learning how to win. You are learning how to endure, how to adapt, how to evolve in the fire. That is what separates you, not how high you climb, but how often you rise after falling. You must not only accept failure, you must study it. Write it down, break it apart. Ask yourself what I learned. What can I fix? What must I change? And then apply it. The lesson means nothing if it is not turned into action. You are not here to collect wisdom. You are here to become stronger, and that means failing forward. Not once, but again and again, until failure is no longer something you fear. It is something you expect, something you use, something you grow from. Do not wish to avoid failure. I wish to recover faster. I wish to grow sharper. I wish to bounce back quicker, because the faster you rise, the faster you build momentum, and momentum turns pain into power, struggle into skill, chaos into clarity. Every failure is a step. If you use it, if you lean into it, if you understand that it is not blocking your path, it is part of the path. And the ones who walk that path the longest are the ones who rise the highest. There is no greatness without failure, no transformation without trial, no power without pressure. Stop waiting for things to go right. Start learning from what went wrong. That is how the strong are made. That is how the masters are shaped. Not in success, but in setbacks. Not in applause, but in the absence of it. Not when everyone believes, but when no one does, and you move anyway. You must see the long game. You must look beyond the current moment. This fall is not the end. This loss is not final. This pain is not forever. Unless you stop, unless you settle, unless you tell yourself that this is as far as you can go. But you know that is not true. You feel it. You have more. And if you keep going, you will reach a point where nothing can stop you. Not failure, not fear, not fatigue, because you will have failed so many times that you are no longer afraid of it. You will become immune to the setbacks, immune to the critics, immune to the pressure, because you have lived through the losses, and you have built your strength inside them. This is the truth most people never learn, but you have, and now you will use it, because failure was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. Emotions are not weakness, but they are not truth either. They rise and fall. They shift with the weather, with the hour, with the smallest change in circumstance. One minute you feel strong, the next you feel broken. One moment you feel focused, the next you feel lost. This is how emotions work. They are waves, and if you let them control you, you will be tossed around your entire life. But if you learn to stand still while they pass, you become unshakable. You become something rare, something powerful. You become a master of yourself. Most people are slaves to how they feel. If they feel tired, they do nothing. If they feel angry, they react. If they feel fear, they freeze. Their emotions run the show, and so they drift day to day, moment to moment, pulled by invisible forces that they never learned to question. But the Stoics did not live like this. The Stoics taught control, not suppression, not denial, control. They knew that the highest power is not the power over others. It is the power over self, the ability to pause, to reflect, to choose the response instead of reacting to the emotion. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. That means you can take any emotion and redirect it. Anger becomes the focus. Fear becomes fuel. Pain becomes proof that you are alive. But this only happens if you stay calm, if you breathe, if you create space between the feeling and the action. That space is where strength lives. It is where the weak fall apart and the strong rise, not because they are fearless, but because they are disciplined. Disciplined enough to hold the line when everything inside them is shaking. You will feel everything. That is normal. But what you do next is everything. Do you quit when you are frustrated? Do you lash out when you are hurt? Do you give up when doubt creeps in? Or do you breathe? Do you slow down? Do you remember who you are and who you are becoming? Do you act with intention? Because that is the choice. And it is a choice. Most people do not know this. They think feelings are commands, but they are not. They are signals, data, information. You do not obey them. You read them. You learn from them. Then you decide what to do next. There is power in choosing how you respond. Power in not letting one bad hour ruin the whole day. Power in staying composed when others panic. That is what Stoic discipline looks like. Calm in chaos, order in emotion, silence in anger, stillness in fear. And that kind of control is not built once. It is trained daily. It is forged in hard moments, in the middle of conflict, in the pressure, in the fire, when your heart is pounding and your thoughts are racing and everything says react. But you do not. You breathe, you decide, you rise. Imagine a river wild and fast pulling everything with it. Most people are swept away. They scream, they fight, they drown. But you learn to swim. You learn to stand still in the middle of the current. And eventually you learn to move with it, not against it. That is emotional control. It is not ignoring the river. It is becoming one with it, choosing your path inside it. And that takes awareness, that takes presence, that takes time. But once you have it, no one can take it from you. You will no longer be thrown off by a bad day. You will no longer be shaken by someone else's mood. You will no longer be held hostage by your own temporary feelings, because you have built a foundation that does not move, a mindset that does not crack, a center that does not shift every time the world changes. That is what makes you unstoppable. Not that you feel nothing, but you feel everything and still move forward, still acting, still built. The world is full of noise, reactions, outbursts, arguments. But silence has power, stillness has weight, calmness in the storm draws attention without trying. It commands respect without force, and the one who does not react has the advantage, because they are thinking clearly, they are choosing wisely. They are not led by fear or ego or anger. They are led by principle, by clarity, by purpose. That is who you must become. This kind of control begins with small moments. You feel the rise of frustration. You feel the rush of panic. You notice the pull toward quitting. And instead of giving in, you pause. You breathe. You listen. And you remember who you are. You remember what you are building. You remember that every action is a brick. Every response is part of the foundation, and you choose the one that builds, not breaks. That creates, not destroys. That moves you forward instead of pulling you back. Over time, these small wins become your default. The chaos around you stays loud, but you stay quiet. The world tries to shake you, but you stay grounded. Others get lost in their feelings, but you keep building, and eventually they will notice. Not because you told them, but because they cannot ignore the results of someone who moves with calm certainty while everyone else is spinning. That is emotional power. That is self-control. That is true strength. It will not be perfect. You will lose your grip sometimes. You will react. You will fall. But the work is not about perfection. The work is about shortening the time between reaction and recovery, between trigger and awareness, between emotion and action. You will get faster. You will get stronger. And eventually you will become someone who leads themselves no matter what they feel. That is what makes you different. That is what makes you rare. You are not waiting to feel better. You are training to choose better. You are not hoping for easier days. You are building the strength to handle harder ones. You are not trying to control the world. You are mastering your response to it. And that mastery will follow you everywhere, into every room, into every challenge, into every win. Greatness is not built in a moment. It is not the result of one big effort or one lucky break. It is not given to the talented or handed to the loud. Greatness is the reward of consistency, the kind of consistency that no one sees, the kind that shows up every single day without excuse, without distraction, without delay. This is the path that separates the dreamers from the doers, the people who talk from the people who build, because everyone wants the result, but very few are willing to commit to the process. The process is quiet, it is repetitive, it is often boring, and that is what makes it powerful. It does not care how you feel. It does not wait for inspiration. It demands that you show up regardless. Every day, no matter what, you wake up, you do the work. You do it again and again, until it becomes part of who you are, until it becomes your identity. Not something you try to do, but something you are. Most people chase motivation. They wait for the spark. They look for the hype. But motivation is unpredictable. Some days it is there. Most days it is not. And if you depend on it, you will fail. You will break your streak. You will lose your momentum. You will fall behind. Because real change does not come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Every decision matters. Every habit compounds. Every action is a step in one direction or another. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That is the formula. Decide who you want to become, then create the habits that align with that vision. Discipline is not about restriction, it is about alignment. Aligning your daily actions with your highest values. Aligning your energy with your deepest goals. Aligning your behavior with your future self. If your actions do not match your ambition means nothing. Small things matter. The time you wake up, the way you train, the way you eat, the way you focus, the way you talk to yourself, all of it counts. Because it is never just one day. It is who you become through repetition. One missed day becomes 2. 2 becomes 10. And before you know it, you are back where you started. But if you stay locked in, if you keep your word to yourself, even on the small things, you will become unstoppable. Because you will have proof. Proof that you are consistent. Proof that you are reliable. Proof that you do not need to be watched to stay on track. Imagine a sculptor working on a statue. Day after day he chisels the stone. The changes are small, invisible to everyone else. But he keeps going, stroke after stroke, hour after hour, because he knows the truth. The masterpiece is not one big swing. It is a million small ones. The same is true for your life. You are the sculptor, and every disciplined action is a chisel. Every repetition is shaping you, even when no one notices, especially when no one notices, especially when no one notices. There will be days when it feels pointless, days when you feel stuck, days when you want to quit. That is when the work matters most. That is when consistency becomes your weapon, because consistency does not care about emotions. It cares about decisions, about standards, about following through. You show up when it is hard. You show up when it is boring. You show up when it feels like nothing is changing. And then one day everything changes, because you refuse to stop. This is how momentum is built. Not with intensity, but with regularity. Not with bursts of effort, but with daily commitment. One step forward every day. That is the formula. That is the secret. That is what compounds into something massive. But only if you keep going. Only if you push through the invisible phase. The phase where the results are not obvious. The phase where doubt creeps in. The phase where most people give up. You must be patient. You must be relentless. You must trust the process, even when it is slow, especially when it is slow, because the reward is not just in what you achieve. It is in who you become, the person who can be trusted, the person who does not quit, the person who shows up. That kind of person wins in the long run. Every time, not because they are the most gifted, but because they are the most consistent. Do not aim to be perfect. Aim to be consistent. Do not aim to impress. Aim to improve. Do not aim to finish fast. Aim to never stop. That is the mindset. That is the edge. The one who stays in the game the longest becomes the one who dominates it. And that can be you. If you choose to stay locked in, if you choose to repeat the basics, if you choose to do the right thing, even when no one is watching, it is not always about doing more. It is about doing it again, about doing it when it is hard, about doing it when it is boring, about doing it when it would be easier not to. That is when consistency becomes character, and character is what creates greatness. Not luck, not hype, no noise, but quiet, consistent effort over time. That is the work. That is the way. Silence is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is not lacking. It is power. It is clear. It is the space where mastery grows. The world tells you to speak louder, to be seen, to explain, to defend, to prove. But those who move with real power do not need noise. They do not need to announce their plans. They do not need to justify their actions. They let the work speak. They let the results speak. They let the silence speak. Most people rush to tell others what they are doing. They want validation. They want applause. They want reassurance. So they speak too soon. They speak before the work is done, before the progress is real. And in doing so, they weaken the fire. They let the energy escape. What was once sacred becomes diluted. What was once focused becomes scattered. Silence protects the process. It holds the energy in. It keeps the focus pure. There is a reason the Stoics spoke little about their intentions. They knew that every word spent talking about the goal was a word not used building it. They knew that premature sharing invites premature judgment. They knew that once the world is invited in, the noise begins, and the mind begins to shift from building to defending, from doing to proving, from focus to distraction. You must understand the cost of speaking too soon. Every time you tell the world what you are going to do, you risk losing the pressure that drives you. You risk replacing action with attention. You risk feeling accomplished before anything has been accomplished. This is a dangerous illusion. It is a dopamine hit that tells your brain the mission is complete. when it has not even started, and that illusion steals momentum. The wise do not speak. They act. They disappear into the process. They bury themselves in the work. They delay gratification. They delay attention. They delay everything except execution, because they know the truth. When you speak too soon, you invite voices that do not belong. You open the door to critics, to doubters, to envy, to noise, and that noise does not help. It distracts, it delays, it derails. You must learn to value your silence, to protect it, to train in it, to become strong in it. The blacksmith does not announce the blade before it is forged. The soldier does not declare the battle plan before it is executed. The lion does not roar before the strike. Silence is the strategy of the strong. It is the mindset of the focused. It is the code of those who build instead of talk. The world wants you to be loud, to broadcast, to explain, to post. But silence holds a mystery that cannot be ignored. It creates energy, an edge. People begin to wonder what you are working on, where you are going, what you are becoming. And that curiosity is more powerful than any explanation. When you move in silence, the reveal hits harder, because no one saw it coming. You must get comfortable being unseen, being unnoticed, being underestimated. This is not a disadvantage, it is an advantage. It means no one is watching your every move. It means no one is interfering. It means you are free to build without noise, and that freedom is priceless. Use it, embrace it, let it sharpen you. There is peace in silence. There is discipline in silence. There is control in silence. It forces you inward. It forces you to confront the truth. Are you working or just talking? Are you moving or just announcing? Are you building or just dreaming? In silence, the answer becomes clear. In silence, there is no performance. There is only work, only the truth, only what you do when no one is clapping. That is where greatness is born. Not in the spotlight, not in the celebration, but in the quiet. In the hours where no one is watching, no one is listening, no one is validating. It is you versus the standard. You versus the old version of yourself. You versus the urge to quit. And every time you choose to continue in silence, you become something stronger. You must learn to love that space. The space where no one sees your effort. The space where no one understands your focus. The space where it is just you and the grind. That space builds something the noise never could. It builds patience. It builds hunger. It builds self-trust. You stop needing others to see you. You stop needing them to believe, because you believe. You see, you know. And when the time comes to reveal what you have built, you will not need to explain. The work will be too loud. The results will be too obvious. The transformation will be undeniable. And all the silence will have been worth it, because you will have something real, something earned, something built in solitude. And nothing built in solitude can be taken by the crowd. Let others talk. Let them announce. Let them post. You are not here for attention. You are here for results. You are here for mastery. You are here for the kind of success that needs no words. That kind of success takes time. It takes silence. It takes focus. And it takes discipline to keep showing up, even when no one notices. Especially when no one notices. You will want to speak. You will want to tell someone. You will want to feel seen. But that urge is the test. Can you delay the reward? Can you stay hidden? Can you keep building with no praise? That is the difference. That is what separates the rare from the rest. The ability to stay silent until the work is done, until the mission is complete, until the success is too loud to ignore. This is how you rise without noise. This is how you win without needing to be seen. This is how you become someone they cannot ignore, not because you told them to look, but because your work left them no choice. And when that moment comes, you will not need to say a word. You will just keep building, keep rising, keep going. The path to greatness is quiet. It is lonely. It is misunderstood. Most people will never walk it, not because they are not capable, but because they are not willing to be alone. They fear solitude. They fear silence. They fear being unseen. But solitude is where greatness grows. It is the training ground of the strong. It is the space where clarity sharpens, where resilience hardens, where focus deepens. You must learn to walk alone. You will lose people. That is part of the process. Not everyone will understand your discipline. Not everyone will support your vision. Some will fall away as you rise. Some will mock your effort. Others will try to pull you back. Not because they hate you, but because your commitment reminds them of their excuses. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your discipline becomes a mirror. And some people cannot stand the reflection. But do not dim your fire to comfort their shadows. Do not shrink your vision to fit their small minds. You were not built for average. You were not born for comfort. You were made to rise, to lead, to stand apart. And that means learning how to be alone without losing your way. That means learning how to push forward when no one claps, when no one believes, when no one understands. Solitude is not punishment. It is preparation. It is where you build the internal strength to handle external pressure. It is where you learn to move without applause, to work without praise, to stay consistent without validation. And when you master that space, you become unstoppable, because you are no longer driven by outside approval. You are driven by your purpose, your mission, your why. There will be days when the silence is heavy, when the room feels too quiet, when doubt creeps in, when you wonder if it is worth it. And that is when you must remember this truth. The loudest breakthroughs come after the quietest seasons. The greatest strength is forged in isolation. The champions are not made in crowds. They are made in the dark, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering. When the only voice is the one in your head telling you to keep going, you must make peace with that voice. You must train it to be your ally, not your enemy, because it will try to break you. It will tell you to quit, to rest, to return to comfort. But you are not here for comfort. You are here for conquest. And conquest demands solitude. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you walk away from what is easy, so you can earn what is rare. Most people crave company on the path. They want to be surrounded. They want support. They want constant encouragement. But you will find that the higher you climb, the fewer people can breathe at your altitude. The air gets thinner. The circle gets smaller. And that is a sign you are on the right track. Growth is supposed to feel lonely. Mastery is supposed to feel isolating, because if everyone could do it, it would mean nothing. Solitude gives you the space to sharpen your mind, to think deeply, to move with intention. In the noise of the world, it is easy to get distracted, to get lost in opinions, to chase trends. But in solitude, you find your truth. You find your values. You find your rhythm. And once you find it, you must protect it. You must guard it with everything, because it is sacred. It is rare. It is yours. There will be temptations to return to the noise, to rejoin the crowd, to seek their approval. But that is regression. That is betrayal. Do not trade your peace for popularity. Do not trade your focus for fleeting attention. Stay hidden, stay working, stay building. The crowd will come when the results arrive, but by then you will not need them. You will already have won. Think of the greatest minds in history, the inventors, the warriors, the philosophers. They spent years alone, isolated in thought, locked in practice, removed from the world. And it was in that solitude that their genius matured, that their vision sharpened, that their impact was born. Not in the spotlight, but in the silence. You must learn to love that silence, to embrace it, to use it, because it will build you, it will reveal your weaknesses, and then it will give you the time to fix them. It will test your commitment, and then give you the strength to pass. Solitude is not the enemy. It is the proving ground, the crucible, the place where your identity is forged. The strongest people you will ever meet are the ones who can walk alone, the ones who do not need constant support, the ones who do not fold under pressure, because they have trained for it, they have lived it, they have learned to rely on their own mind, their own discipline, their own direction. That is true strength. That is real power. The weak seek the crowd, the strong build in solitude. You get to choose which one you become. You get to choose if you let loneliness break you or build you, if you let silence distract you or define you. You get to choose if you use this season to complain or to create. But understand this, the choice you make will shape everything. It will decide your level, your impact, your legacy. So walk alone if you must. Stand alone if you must. Train alone if you must. Because in that solitude, you are not just surviving, you are rising, you are transforming, you are becoming. And soon the world will see what you were building while they were sleeping, while they were doubting, while they were watching. And when that moment comes, you will not need to say a word. Your work will speak. Your strength will speak. Your life will speak. And it will all say one thing. This is what happens when you embrace solitude and keep going. You did not come this far to stop. You did not endure the silence, the struggle, the doubt to walk away now. You are not the same person who started. You are stronger, you are sharper, you are harder to break. And that is the reward of the journey, not just the goals reached or the battles won, but the person you have become along the way. That is what matters. That is what lasts. There will always be more to do, more to build, more to overcome. But now you know you can. Now you know what you are made of. The process revealed it. The silence forged it. The setbacks proved it. And now you must carry that truth with you every day, like armor, like fire, like a quiet force that no one sees but everyone feels. You are no longer chasing greatness. You are living it. You are no longer looking for the path. You are the path. Because you chose effort over ease, discipline over comfort, purpose over praise. And that choice made you unstoppable, not because you are perfect, not because you never fall, but because you never stay down. You always rise, you always return, you always keep going. The world sees the result, but only you know the cost. The early mornings, the late nights, the invisible battles, the lonely days, the moments where quitting looked easy, but still you stayed, still you pushed, still you believed. And now your work speaks, your results speak, your presence speaks. Not with noise, not with attention, but with undeniable strength. This is the power of the process. It teaches you what really matters. Not applause, not opinions, not comfort, but commitment, focus, patience, You learn that success is not a moment. It is not a destination. It is a decision, repeated over and over in silence, in doubt, in the dark, until one day the light arrives. But by then you do not need it, because you have already become the person who lives in the light. Most people never get here. They stop too soon. They break under pressure. They chase quick wins. But you chose something deeper, something stronger. You chose to master yourself. And when you master yourself, the world cannot stop you. Not failure, not redemption, not criticism, nothing. Because the battle is no longer outside. It is within, and you have already won it. You no longer need to be told what to do. You already know. You no longer wait for motivation. You act with discipline. You no longer fear silence. You thrive in it. And that is the final transformation, when you no longer need permission to rise, when you no longer need approval to move, when you no longer need recognition to work. That is when you become truly unstoppable. You do not just succeed. You endure, you build, you elevate, quietly, relentlessly, without needing to be seen. Because now you understand that the work is the reward, the grind is the gift, the discipline is the way, and when you live that way, the outcome becomes inevitable. The result becomes certain, not because you expect it, but because you earned it. This is the Stoic way, the way of inner power, of quiet excellence, of relentless progress. It is not for everyone, but it is for you, because you have proven it with your actions, with your mindset, with your ability to keep showing up when others quit. That is what separates you now. Not talent, not luck, but consistency, discipline, resilience. You have become the kind of person who does not stop, who does not fold, who does not break under pressure, and the world will see it in your results, in your presence, in the way you carry yourself. They will feel your focus, they will notice your strength, they will witness your rise, and they will know it was no accident. It was built, earned, forged in the fire of effort. So do not stop now. There is still more in you, more to become, more to give, more to build. But now you move with power, with clarity, with intention. You do not seek the path. You are the path. You do not wait for the moment. You create the moment. You do not hope for success. You embody it. Keep rising. Keep building. Keep mastering the quiet. Because the world needs more of that energy, that focus, that strength. Not the noise, not the hype, but the silent fire, the steady work, the kind of greatness that moves without a sound and leaves a mark that cannot be erased. This is the beginning, not the end. This is the foundation, not the finish. Because true greatness is not a place you reach. It is a person you become, and you are that person. Now you must walk forward and carry that power with you, into your work, into your life, into everything you touch. And remember, you do not need to prove them wrong. You only need to prove yourself right. You are not here to impress. You are here to build. You are not here to chase applause. You are here to make an impact. And that impact begins the moment you stop explaining and start executing. Silently, consistently, unshakably. If you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you have been looking for direction, this is it. If you have been wondering if you are ready, you are. So start now, or keep going. But do not stop. Do not look back. Do not slow down. Because everything you want is already waiting. And the only way to reach it is to keep moving, in silence, in strength, with everything you have. Now is your time. Stay focused, stay committed, stay silent, and let the world watch what happens next.